what you're doing isn't working, don't you agree it may be time to start doing what is working and working like crazy? Hello, I'm Tyler Erickson, the creator of NetSpace Profits, and I'm excited to introduce to you my newly released version. If you're like me, the first thing you're wondering is, do I even need to watch this video? What is NetSpace Profits and what's in it for me? Well, watch this and you'll see. In a nutshell, NetSpace Profits is a very efficient process of cranking out a portfolio of highly effective, highly targeted, and precisely positioned one-page websites for 43 specific business categories, quickly leasing those spaces to local businesses in your market. Watch how this works. I'm on Google and I'm going to search for the phrase florists in Mesa. Simply because if you were looking for a florist in Mesa, this would be the most logical term most people would search. In fact, while we're on this, if you live in Mesa, Arizona, email me and you can have this site. My email address is tyler.erickson, E-R-I-C-S-S-O-N, @gmail.com. Email me and you can have this site right here. You can see it, #1 in Google, Florists in Mesa. That's mine. I set this one up quickly just for this demo. With the NetSpace Profit system, you'll get these sites set up and then use my 3-step technique to get them well positioned in local search, just like this example, and you'll lease that space to a local florist for them to put their telephone number on. I would charge $300 a month for this space right here, #1 in Google. And as you can imagine, every florist in Mesa wants to be #1 in this space. But Mesa is not my market. In fact, I've never been there. I just made this site to give you a quick snapshot of how powerful and quick the NetSpace Profit system is. So like I said, if you live in Mesa, Arizona, email me and you can have this one. I want you to put it to good use and make some quick money. It's ready to go. And that's how the NetSpace Profit system works. It's powerful and effective. You own the site. You control the site. You collect the rent. You handpick your select group of clients. Over the next 15 minutes, I'm going to detail for you everything about NetSpace Profits. You can also watch over my shoulder as I walk through real life and actual case studies so that you can witness with your own eyes exactly what NetSpace Profits is. So now that you get the big picture, I'm not going to ask you to sit here for an hour and listen to me ramble on about how great I am or whatever, when I know your #1 question at this point is simply, how much does this system cost? Well, I'm about to tell you the greatest news you've heard in a long time. The total cost is just $34. That's it. Not monthly, not annually, no bogus trial offers, just $34 flat. And that includes my 60-day, no questions asked, one-click refund policy. $34 is actually a very small fraction of what NetSpace Profits version 1 and 2 sold for, and version 3.0 is more powerful, robust, and jam-packed with new features. I'm opening up version 2 for $34 on a very limited basis because if you're like me, we've learned that truly great and rewarding businesses are built on long-term, profitable relationships and not the quick buck, flash-in-the-pan stuff so many people are trying to pass off on us. So right now is your opportunity to join a close group of people just like you and me who share the same goals as us, whose #1 goal is to work together, share innovation, techniques, and tools to create solid businesses, relationships, and long-term growth. You'll agree $34 is an insignificant amount. Heck, these days it's not much more than a few gallons of gas. Isn't that crazy? And for the longest time, I've always worried about my future and stuff until I created NetSpace Profits. And that's when everything changed. You see, NetSpace Profits is a training center, software, and a unique suite of tools where I teach you exactly how to do this and how to become really, really good at it. All for $34. Let me tell you, it took 10 months, 2 programmers, 3 graphic designers, 2 server experts, 3 video makers, 2 writers, just to build the NetSpace Profits Training Center. Not an easy task and quite an expensive undertaking, but it's all done and it's ready for you right now. Let's get into the finer details. I'm going to show you some real-life examples of the NetSpace Profit system at work. But I want to first start by asking you, if I gave you something right now, today, that automatically paid you $300 per month, every month, how many of them would you want? And if you're willing to focus like a laser beam on what I'm about to disclose for you in the next 17 minutes, you are exactly where you need to be to take a shortcut straight to the top of the elite circle of massive automatic income earners. even if you're $702,000 in debt and see no end in sight. I should know because that's exactly where I found myself a short while ago. You see, thinking I was a big shot a few years ago, I decided I was going to be a real estate tycoon. And where did that get me? Well, when the economy tanked and real estate became about as valuable as toxic waste practically overnight, I was dead broke and $702,000 in massive debt. Now, net space profits is not about real estate at all, but going broke because of it was the best thing that ever happened to me and the exact reason you can capitalize on my misfortunes right now. Here's why. Scrambling to dump my real estate empire fast and after firing 3 different realtors who couldn't produce so much as a single prospect, I was desperate, sinking fast, and willing to try anything to get myself out of that awful situation. The bank was tightening the noose it had around my neck, and it had no intention of backing off. It's when I got this friendly letter from the bank that I thought for sure my future looked very bleak. $702,000 due in full. Yeah, okay, well, let me grab my wallet or something like that. Or better yet, how about if I give you a check and you hold it for a while, maybe like 100 years? I couldn't even afford to put a for sale ad in the newspaper. And out of sheer desperation, that's when I decided I had no choice but to try to sell my property on my own, and I would try to sell it on the internet. Problem was, I am definitely no techno geek, and my knowledge and experience with the internet would fit on the head of a pin. So as you can imagine, I was convinced this would be a total waste of time. But I had no other ideas, and it seemed like everything was closing in on me fast. You know the feeling, overwhelmed and a little defeated, I guess you could say. Before I go on, I want to remind you again, net space profits has nothing to do with real estate, nothing at all. Oh, and it's not about making $537,000 in a month or something crazy like that. We've all seen those slick videos of some fast-talking car salesman telling us how for $40 or so we can all make a gazillion dollars online in the next 24 hours or something like that. Those guys don't give us much credit, do they? I don't know about you, but I kind of find it insulting when those gurus start telling me how lucky I am that I've stumbled onto their site and how I can get this secret code that was supposedly hacked from the top marketer in the world, etc., etc., etc. Or better yet, how about the story of some mysterious programmer, codenamed Mr. X or whatever, who appeared out of the darkness of the night to hand deliver some disk with a magical software on it or something like that. Seriously now, what kind of fools do they think we are? Now, if you're smarter than all of that nonsense and you're the kind of person who understands the big picture and you're ready to grab a credible long-term business that can create a residual monthly income at virtually any level you choose, then stick around because I am going to detail for you a very specific and simple process anyone can duplicate over and over again until you reach your target income goal. Now, getting back to my story, I did not know anything about making websites or online advertising or anything like that. And my marketing budget was very simple, $0. So this is what I did. I simply did a little research. I mean, you know online you can pretty much find out information about anything. I had to learn how to get some basic local exposure on the internet without spending any money, and I had to do it fast. And once I got the basic idea of what I needed, I registered a local domain for about $10, then I got some pictures of my property, and I got a free web design off the internet. Very basic, and I made a simple one-page site. This is it right here, and as you can see, it looked terrible. It looked very amateur. Very beginner stuff, but I did the best I could, and anyone can do this. It's only fair to note at this point that the first time I put this one-page site up, it took me at least 16 good hours or more. It was definitely trial and error, definitely a little frustrating. Today, using my simple system, that same process takes me about 15 minutes now. And that's because I have a method. I have a step-by-step, precise method. The same thing I'm going to show you how to do in just a moment. Anyway, after my one-page site was up, I followed some very basic steps that I had picked up online to try to get some local exposure for my page. I did things that didn't cost anything because I didn't have much money to spend on it. For the first 2 weeks after I got my site online, I got a few leads, but nothing great. It was looking pretty bleak. and I was starting to believe that the bank would win and I was sunk, so I might as well just give up. That one sentence in the letter from the bank just kept running through my mind over and over again. $702,000 due in full. But giving up is not my style. So I went back to the drawing board. I figured, hey, if I could get a few people to find this, then I can get more. I just need to figure out how. So I made some changes. I did 3 things different to my site, mostly about how I had it listed. I'm going to tell you those 3 things in just a moment, but I made those changes blindly, hoping something would happen, something would go my way. I don't know about you, but do you ever go through those times when you just need a victory? You need a win? Not a landslide, just something positive to go your way. Well, what happened next was nothing short of amazing. Not only was my site getting lots of exposure, my property was shown to more potential buyers over the next 30 days than it had been shown in the prior 2 years. Just from that one-page website, I had more potential buyers than my realtor had come up with ever. And he has his own very fancy website. Bottom line to all this, my property was sold in a very short period of time, and my $702,000 in debt was gone forever. And by the way, I'm going to tell you an interesting story about that banker jerk shortly. But for now, that's the short version of the story, and it doesn't really mean anything to you, and it's not really that interesting or important. But this is, listen up, because this is what can make you a ton of money. Look at this chart right here. This tells the story. This is the first secret you need to know. What this is, these are the online stats from my website. You can see on the left are the dates by week, and the right column is the number of visitors each week. Look at the first week in February. You see how the number skyrocketed from less than 100 to more than 500, literally overnight. You see, there's the key to everything. And you can make your spaces work exactly the same way. Here's how simple this is. If you take the internet as a whole, we all know that is a huge monster. But when you narrow your focus to a single local market by selecting a specific local domain, things begin to change. Next, by zeroing in on one specific business category in that one specific market, you can see how your NetSpace funnel site can quickly grab the corner of the market. Your space can quickly be well positioned in local search to complete your funnel. I'll show you how to apply this process to create your spaces and to capitalize on great positioning in any local search for any market you choose. It's no coincidence that Google, Yahoo, and Bing all now have special divisions for this one purpose and this one purpose only, and that's because this is what's working, and it's time for you to zero in on this and start capitalizing on what's working now. Immediately after my property was sold, I realized there was something significant that I had done with my site. Very significant, and here's how I knew. The realtor and this house flipper guy I know both called me that very same day and asked if I had any use for my website. They both wanted to take it off my hands, so to speak. All of a sudden I was popular, very popular. I just smiled. They probably thought it was because I paid off $702,000 in debt, but that wasn't it at all. You see, it was at that very moment that I realized the simple, little crappy website built by the worst website designer in the world, me, a total amateur, had value. And it had real value because it could funnel customers to any business I chose to funnel them to. And customers are worth money, big money, and both of these guys just validated that for me. Hey, I'm just like you. I like money, and I like lots of it. And when I see a golden opportunity, I never pass it up. And here I had these 2 guys basically in a tug-of-war for my crappy little site. Well, it was then that I decided it wasn't for sale, but I would gladly rent it out to the highest bidder. Wouldn't you? And that was the day my life changed forever. That one victory I needed to happen.